I thank all of you for being out here this evening to discuss some Let me give you a news bulletin. We just won Wyoming. Which is the 8th contest in the last 9 that we have won. Now we are in New York. New York has the chance to really make history. If we win here, if we beat Secretary Clinton, are we going to win? And everybody here knows that this campaign is not just about electing a president. It is about transforming America. It is about making it clear from coast to coast, and I've been all over this country. The American people are tired of the same old establishment politics and establishment economics. They are tired of a government that is dominated by wealthy campaign contributors. They are tired of an economy where almost all new income and wealth goes to the top 1%. They are tired of a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires are buying elections, and they are tired of a broken criminal justice system which has more people in jail than any other country on earth. And we're going to end that. All right? We are going to invest in our young people in jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. We have come a very long way in the last 11 months. But we can win this thing. There is a path toward the White House, and don't let anybody tell you there is not. Our goal, and we're beginning to see this, is to see people from across this country stand up and fight back. I don't have to tell anybody in this beautiful theater tonight that the history of change, real change in America, never occurs from the top on down. It always happens from the bottom on up. Whether it is the history of the trade union movement, whether it is history of the civil rights movement, the history of the women's movement, the gay movement, the Fight for 15 movement. Just think, if we were here 5 years ago and somebody said, you know, Bernie, this $7.25 minimum wage is a disaster, it's a starvation wage, and we've got to raise it to $15 an hour, the person next to them would have said, $15 an hour? You're nuts. You're thinking too big, you're too radical, can't be done. But then you know what happened? People in the fast food industry fought back. People at McDonald's and Burger King, they made it clear they can't live on $15 an hour. They went out on strike, they went out on the streets, and I'm very proud to have demonstrated with them in Washington, D.C. And then because they fought back, Seattle, $15 an hour, LA, San Francisco, Oregon, California, New York State. And trust me, it wasn't because your governor had a great idea that he wanted to do it. It's because the people told him he had better do it. And that's what this campaign is about. Is bringing people together, black and white and Latino and Asian American and Native American, all of our people, to stand together, to think outside of the box, to understand what the media does not tell us. Status quo does not have to continue to exist. that change. We don't need to have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. We do not need to see 1 in 4 kids in the Bronx have asthma because of the crap that they are breathing. We do not need to continue to see gentrification, which is driving working people out of the neighborhood. We do not need to have more people in jail than any other country. We do not need to be the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care or paid family leave for all of its people. So don't let anybody tell you that our options are this narrow, to think small. We don't have to think small. This is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. And when we stand together, we can make profound changes. That is what this campaign is about. And I want to thank all of you for being here. Let me thank Erica for doing Erica went through a nightmarish experience, an experience that no child should have to go through. And you can respond to that tragedy in one of 2 ways. You could become depressed, you can become withdrawn. 90-year-old, how are you? Thank you. I see where Erica gets her energy from. And her grandmother could have withdrawn, and that would have been totally understandable. I think every one of us would have understood that. But she didn't. She used her grief and her pain to fight back and to say that we will have real police department reform in New York and around this country. Thank you so much, everyone. And what can we say about this guy? Harry Belafonte is one of the great American entertainers for decades. But he has, that's the point, but not a whole lot of people know. That's right, you've known him as a great entertainer, but not everybody in America knows that for decade after decade after decade, he has been there fighting the fight for racial justice, for social justice. He was there with Dr. King. Yes, and I gotta admit, I'm old enough. I was there at the March on Washington. What do we say about Nina Turner? Former state senator from Ohio, and she had incredible courage. And that, you know, I think it's no great secret that in every state in this country we're taking on the entire Democratic establishment. Nina was a former supporter of Secretary Clinton, but she heard what we were trying to do in this campaign, and she came over, and she has been an incredible asset.
All right, y'all ready? All right, let's get to some questions here. We're gonna get to y'all in a minute. Let me get a few out first of all. Let's start with the term super predators. Earlier this week, Bill Clinton made some very disturbing comments seeming to defend Secretary Clinton's now infamous super predator comments and disparage the Black Lives Matter activists. What are your thoughts about what he says, Senator Sanders?
Unacceptable. I think we all know what that term meant when in the context that it was said years ago. We know who they were talking about. That's exactly right. That's who it was. And I think that the president owes the American people an apology for trying to defend what is indefensible. But let me, if I may, say it was not just that. During that period, a piece of legislation called the so-called Welfare Reform Act was passed. You all remember that? And the premise, which was a right-wing Republican premise, was that the problem was that all of these poor people were really living high off the hog. They were all the quote-unquote welfare queens. Remember that? All these poor people just living so well on welfare. And that bill was passed, and the result of it was that extreme poverty for the poorest of the poor went up very significantly in our country. And what that politics is about, what that psychology is about, is to adopt the Republican belief that the way you get votes is beating up on the poorest and most vulnerable people in this country. That is a bad, bad way to win votes. To beat up on people who are helpless, who are barely making it economically, and to go after them to win votes and to cut benefits for children, for moms, is unacceptable. And we are going to put an end to that mentality. We're not going to be beating up on the poor. If you notice, in much of today's political discussion, the word poverty is virtually not mentioned. You know that? It's not mentioned. We got 47 million people living in poverty. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth. I'm going to put the issue of poverty back on the table. Continue to talk about it, but first point is I think President Clinton owes the American people an apology for defending the indefensible.
Well, Brother Belafonte, I'd like to know what you thought of Senator Mr. Clinton's comments.
First of all, let me just say that I am now at the threshold of my 90th year in life. And to have lived long enough to see Bernie Sanders step into the fray and to put some skin in the game has kind of reawakened my youthful spirit. I spent a great deal of time traveling around the United States of America. I did that as a performer, but I now do this as an activist. I don't run for political office, but I do run for justice. The thousands of young men and women that I have visited in the prisons of America know what it is to look at justice dismissed and forgotten. And I am just absolutely thrilled to have been given the opportunity to stand on a platform with a man that has the integrity and the dignity and the ability to lead this country into a new horizon. Bernie Sanders has decided not to put any negative vibes into this campaign. It is with a great deal of difficulty that I support that point of view. Those who oppose Bernie Sanders and those who would choose to defile him, those who would choose to minimize what he's about, does this country a great disservice. What America needs is exactly what Bernie Sanders is giving us. And if we blow this opportunity, we will have blown the opportunity to change America for the foreseeable future. So in answer to your question, I will just say, Hillary who? We have been there and done that. So there's the new Bernie Sanders.
Erica, do you want to make a comment on Erica, do you want to make a comment on President Bill Clinton's comments?
I just want to say that Bernie is going to be our next president.
Now, Senator Sanders, what further steps would you take as president to further demilitarize our law enforcement, to end what has been the experience of many African Americans who feel they live in something equated to a police state or an occupied territory?
When we have seen in Ferguson, Missouri, what that appeared to me to look like is literally an occupying army, didn't it? I mean, which is military equipment. You thought that they were in Iraq invading some community. Police departments, good police departments, and I was a mayor for 8 years and we tried to run a good police department, is part of the community. It is not something that is oppressing the community, not something that is feared by the community. So what we have got to do is to make certain that the federal government is not providing this heavy-duty military equipment to local police departments.